game. Greg Frank in for Johnny Ballgame, as it is time for that 5 o'clock home run, as we call it on Idaho Sports Talk. And we're still waiting on the athletic director, Jeramiah Dickey. He should be in here in a matter of minutes. But Prater, obviously, it's always good to catch up with him once a month here on the show.
Yeah, he's about a minute or two behind. Very, very busy man, and always very, very appreciative of his time. We do this every second Tuesday of the month. Last time we did this, we were in Vegas for Mountain West Media Days, and always appreciate our 15 to 20 minutes with Jeremiah. He'll join us live here in a minute. You guys can catch us on the app, 95.3 Ticket FM, 1350 a.m. You can even catch us live on our YouTube channel as well right now. So Jeremiah Dickey, let's hope he's not speeding. We don't want Jeremiah Dickey to get speeding tickets because we're having a speeding conversation. There's a lot of themes with today's show. Vandals, John L., speeding, all kinds of fun stuff going on out there in the sports world. I know this Boise State's out of practice right now. And finally, Spencer Danielson is the happiest man in the entire state of Idaho. He finally got his 100-degree practice day. And it's over 100 field in Boise State practice. Spencer Danielson is a very happy man right now. He's Jeremiah Dickey. The football team is practicing at 100 degrees. That's exactly what the game against South Florida. What's that? Did you say 16 days?
16 days. 16 days it is. Thursday, August the 28th is the season opener for the Boise State Broncos. And he now joins us in the studio, Ask the AD with AD every second Tuesday of the month. Jeremiah, good to see you again. I introduced myself to you on Saturday. Nice to catch up with you.
Nice seeing you guys.
Problem with the Twitter. Not on Twitter. Something happened. This. We're live on YouTube, but
it's pretty normal for everyone.
My last
Elon must change the freaking rules.
coming home from a Bronco game night.
There's nothing we can do about that.
You're live and
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we're live on YouTube.
Like, there's not a time that I've been pulled over that I didn't know why. So,
Okay.
it's like, you face it, it's, I'm always pretty kind, like, yeah, I got it, man. Once back, and it was a little bit lower than what I thought, so I said, I'll go with your number. That's what we bet.
Well, I'm glad you got to be great. Well, he can call the new guy right here.
Yeah, and you can call me that because you've only seen me twice. Prater has known me 2 months. I don't know. Maybe I don't know. We've been talking about that. When does that expire? And you hire people. Why do you no longer? Oh wow. Okay. Well, Prater was saying I got to get. Well, he said the first game, but other people have said I got to get through the whole football season.
So I would go with that.
Yeah, because my first experience with the blue, I couldn't see the blue because I went to the concert. So, anyway.
All right, well, let's get into the series. We appreciate the time. We do this with JD every second Tuesday of the month, and you've been a very busy guy. I can't imagine what your life is like. We're going to talk to you about that. Brett's got some interesting perspective. That's one of the cool things that you know is fresh bodies, fresh employees, and fresh minds, fresh perspectives, and he's got some cool questions about you and how you handle what you do on that straight into the usual. Of course. Let's talk to Pac-12. And I just want to get the update. And you're not going to specifics. You're not the Pac-12. You only speak in reference to Boise State. That's the latest on. And I'm more interested at this point. What is your personal opinion? I suppose to make your scheduling like you have one more Pac-12. But is that really the reason? The right teams interested in how you feel about the real who's outside of the media, right? Today, and move into this.
Yeah, I agree with that question. Our goal is the best interest programs.
There's no way to get around that.
Yeah.
It sounds echoey. You're all the audio.
Yeah.
I don't look at. Let's assume we stay with what a great opportunities with et cetera, that, that it could be different than how conferences have scheduled. And I'm throwing stuff out there, and this is shooting from the hip. That's the cool part about being a part of the Pac-12. And yes, it is a good conference. And so everything work on the plan. And so a lot of time thinking about how can we do this differently than maybe what others are doing, because we have those opportunities in the industry. And if we continue to do the same thing, that's insanity. I don't like this.
Yeah, no. So I'm assuming that for the 26th football season, great, we might be having some videos, some audio switches, I think.
We're working on it.
So, you guys up on that and kind of troubleshoot some of those things. I'm assuming that in 2026, we've run out of time for a new football member. And at this point, you're still doing your due, or maybe I'm wrong there. Maybe there is enough time. I mean, exit fees, conference, year's notice, that stuff is passed.
Yeah, no, I mean, look, is anything, it's all possible, right? It's money, and how much would someone be willing to pay to get out of their situation?
Okay.
And but yeah, like, we understand what it looks like moving forward. And I think we're currently happy with the membership that we have. And, but time will tell. But yeah, I would assume that, at this point, but that could change. Like, that's what's so hard about this. If someone's willing to pay, like, and throw money at it, that probably opens up a lot more opportunity. But, time will tell.
So at this point, are you putting more, you're probably knowing you, and again, all the juggling you do, are you putting more time and effort personally in your workday with trying to help the Pac-12 find another member? Or if that doesn't come to fruition, you have to find another non-conference game, at least for 2026.
Yeah, or there's the other option that, what does it look like from the conference membership? But no, I don't spend a, a, a tremendous amount of time in terms of finding other teams. I mean, we
Okay.
have, and that's assuming that we want someone else, right? Like, we have a very specific process and strategy. And Teresa, our commissioner, she's doing a great job with that, and obviously she has a team behind her, and so there's a lot of support in those conversations, but that's not something that I'm spending a lot of time on, especially now with where we're at, going into a season.
Yeah.
I really spend a lot of my time on how do we, think differently about the conference? How do we monetize it differently? How do we utilize Pac-12 enterprises? What other opportunities are there available to us as we look ahead and we're building a new conference? I think we talked about this last time. I want to say we're the first to do it since the Mountain West.
I believe that is correct.
Right.
Yeah.
And so that gives us a tremendous opportunity and path forward that we don't have to do what everyone else has done. We don't have to do what the old pack did. We don't have to do what the Mountain West is currently doing. We can view and look at things very differently. And I think with the group of ADs we have and the support from the staff in the conference, I think that opens up a world of opportunities that our job now is to run off those ground balls and figure out what's best.
Boise State AD Jeramiah Dickey joining us here on the Ask the AD with JD segment here on Idaho Sports Talk. Jeremiah, one of the big things we were talking about on today's show is that exhibition basketball game with the Vandals. What can you tell us about how that came to be, and just in terms of future athletic events with Idaho? I just got here, and I always feel like geography matters in rivalries, and we would like to see Idaho on the blue in terms of your negotiating with them and just how this game got to be and other future endeavors with the Vandals. What can you say?
Yeah, first and foremost, Idaho is an important state to us, not necessarily program, but we love Idaho, and we're here to serve our portion of the state. And so we're always looking for opportunities that can expand our brand and really, live that out in action. So, when Leon and them came to us and said, "Hey, there's a potential opportunity, we can actually sell tickets," and it made too much sense. It made a lot of sense for them, and very much appreciate their willingness to work with us. And I think it gets our foot in the door in terms of what it could be in terms of football. I know we've talked about that before, and I want to continue to show up appropriately for the state and provide opportunities. And I love keeping money in our state. And so, my formula hasn't changed from a football standpoint. It's hard. I know there's this rivalry of sorts, but I don't view them as rival. I'm not from Idaho. I'm here and I'm working at Boise State, and I know we're an FBS, and that's important and that's a value. We're the only FBS in the state. But part of our formula is playing an FCS opponent, and I would much rather play like we're doing with Eastern Washington. I would much rather play FCS opponents that are regionally based, those that are close to us. It helps with fan attendance, and you look at an Idaho. I mean, you think about that game, and I don't, Prater, you would know how long ago we played them, or the last time we played them. That provides us opportunity. That provides us, a revenue generation, opportunity as we look at selling up our stadium, and that's going to be consistent moving forward. So I'm excited for the basketball game. We've played them in soccer, volleyball, golf. Trainers been playing them, here in Boise and that's important to us. And we want to, serve our state, and Idaho is a part of that.
I don't mean to put you on the spot because you go to a million sporting events, Boise State sporting events, and I've even seen you out and about at other stuff, just trying to be a fan, but you can't be everywhere. We just asked Greg what's going to be his rite of passage. It's not going to make him the new guy. As the Boise State athletic director, have you ever been to a Boise State Idaho sporting game, a soccer game, a volleyball? Were you able to attend one of those? Because you can't get to them all.
Yes, I was, and I would have to go back. I want to say Idaho and Idaho State. We've been pretty consistent. Softball.
No, I know they're playing on the schedule, and even like the club hockey teams are playing. But have you been able to attend personally with your own eyes an Idaho Boise State sporting event?
Yes.
Okay. Yes. And did you notice any kind of difference in terms of the passion, the emotion, the excitement, even if it was not a 36,000 seat football game?
Look, we sell out every soccer match. We average 1,200 plus at a volleyball match. I wouldn't necessarily say for those sports that it was any more crazy than the next match. That's nothing against them or us. Like I think it's probably bigger for the fans than it is
100%.
Distance, of the last time we played them in football and whatever that rivalry was. A lot has changed since then, and so I'm not sure it carries the same weight for those of us in the department versus the fans that have been a part of this program than I have, and I have a lot of respect and appreciation for everyone's opinion in terms of whether we should or shouldn't. There are things that are important to me. I want to deliver, events to our community that are of value to us. I'm biased, but that is my job, that are of value to us. And when you think about that, specifically in football, when you think about that game, that is something that every Bronco fan talks about. That is something that a lot of Vandals talk about. And so, if we can keep money in our state, and we're, at this point, we're going to continue to play FCS, it makes a lot of sense for us.
It takes two schools to tangle in this type of a game, and I know it's very complicated. It goes back a couple of generations from your office. But I think I ask you this question at least every 6 months. Has there been any fresh dialogue? And it's probably not gone beyond that in terms of getting Idaho back on the football schedule.
Yes.
There is progress there.
Progress.
Dialogue. Conversations. Both parties are interested. You're trying to figure out details.
Yes.
Could it possibly happen in 26?
No.
Okay. That's too fast.
Yeah, it's too fast. There's some things, obviously the Pac-12 transition, and what are we going to do in football schedule? Yeah. And so, like, those are questions that I'm working through with our team. And then the availability for them and us. We're pretty much scheduled out. There are a few, years that I think I need one more game, but it may not align. And so, that's what I'm working on right now. When is the best time?
One of the things that I was hoping to do here was kind of go behind the curtain a little bit on life as a college AD. And I think anytime you're at the top of the athletic ladder like you are, you're probably dealing with a variance of opinions from your staff on the decision. And when it comes to your decision-making process, what can you tell us about how you've improved as a leader that's dealing with confrontation like that, trying to make the best decision for Boise State in those situations?
Yeah, I think there's a level of confidence that I have now that maybe I didn't have before, and, there are some decisions that, you know, I feel more comfortable with moving forward, and I know I have my team's support. And most of, I don't operate in a silo, and I don't like secrets, so I'm very transparent with my staff, my administration, my coaches. And so there's not much that I feel would necessarily create conflict. As a leader, my job is to pour into others, lead into them. I ask a lot of questions. When we're going through a decision-making process, a lot of times I'm not giving my opinion until I'm the last opinion, because I want them to feel comfortable to speak into whatever we are doing, and I want their honest, authentic feedback. And then I offer my decision or whatever that may be, and there's different circles, right? We have head coach meetings, we have senior staff meetings, we have leadership teams. Leadership directly reports to me. Senior staff has all my sport program administrators on, who represent each sport program, right? So 18. So every conversation is different. Some decisions need to happen much quicker, and it may be me leaning on, a conversation I have with our president, or a conversation I have with Matt Wild, who's on our team now, and represents the legal side of in which I deal with him quite a bit, just as the industry goes now. It may be something specific to external and Cody, and it's, what are your thoughts on this? And we try. I've learned over the course of time, it's much better for me to create a more efficient process, to be direct in what the goals are, and the why behind it, and to make quicker decisions, because I don't want people waiting on me. I want to empower our team. I want them to go, and my job is to fill the gap. They get the credit, I get the blame. And if something doesn't work, then I take it from them. And
Jeremiah,
go ahead.
I'm sorry. Finish up.
No, that was it. If something doesn't work, I take it from them, or take that responsibility, and then they get the credit. So, I mean, our process is pretty locked in, and has been for quite a while, and it's really elevated us. You saw this summer, we have done so much, guys, in terms of making progress this summer, and the decisions that were made, and people are in and out of town, but we have processes in place, and it's plan the work the plan, and that eliminates a lot of the uncomfortableness. And it doesn't mean we don't have conversations, but I wouldn't say many conversations lead to conflict.
Jeramiah Dickey, our guest here in the Rotate.com studios. Ask the AD with JD, second Tuesday of every month here on KTIK. The Ticket. Jeremiah, if we look back a little bit, we're about to start another academic year. But if we look back, 4 years for you on the job now here at Boise State, and that's enough time for undergraduates who were freshmen who have graduated, and it's about a term in political office usually. So if you had to kind of evaluate yourself over the first 4 years here in the Treasure Valley, what would you
You want me to grade myself?
say? And that's the question.
Yeah,
I want you to grade yourself for sure.
I think I've done this before on this show, and I'm really hard on myself. I look back, I probably, hone in on what I didn't do, or the decision I didn't make, or a failure, than I do on the successes, and so I still have a lot to learn, and I'd say C plus. At this point, there's some things shoulda, coulda, woulda, and hindsight's everything. But I do know we've made progress. I know I've grown as a leader, and I'm really proud of the team that I have around me, and how they've embraced what's next for us. But yeah, I would say C plus. There's more to
And there's more questions that we could dive in football and basketball and the hardcore sports stuff, but I'm kind of fascinated by this conversation. And you said what you just said before. You're really hard on yourself. Your mind never stops racing. You're really hard on yourself. You're your own worst critic, and you always want to do better. You always want to do more. One of the cool things that people don't talk about the most, and I'm not sucking up to you or patting you on the back, is the Bronco Bold program. And I still carry a Bronco Bold bracelet on my work bag every single day. I spend 15 minutes in my house, complete total silence and darkness every morning before I come out into this jungle of craziness. What do you do? What are your tips in terms of wellness, mental health, life balance? I mean, you've got a strong family life, so that part is built in and very obvious. But what are the tools that you use that could maybe help somebody else?
Even the strong family life adds pressure and stress.
Sure.
I have a lot of dad guilt and husband guilt, and you want to be what
Because of
everyone
lack
needs
of
you to
time?
be. lack of time. My kids, he got, I felt bad. Like he got emotional the other day because he sees his friends' dads coach their leagues, and the best I can do right now is I don't miss games, and so it's hard for me to go to his practice every night because there is a different level of responsibility, and that's something that so yeah, there's a lot of guilt, but I appreciate that question. My faith is important to me. I've been very vocal about that, and there's a lot of I try to find moments of silence, and those moments, that's where 90% of the time I'm talking to God. I'm asking for forgiveness. I'm asking for guidance. I'm asking for wisdom, and and maybe peace. And so that's how I start my days. I don't listen to a lot of music in the car anymore. I don't watch a lot of TV. My mind doesn't stop. That's a blessing and a curse, I think my staff would say. There's a lot of good that comes from that. I also try to, you know, run or walk, but I try to do every day. That's important to me, and a lot of times that is where I'll listen to music. It's just, I try not to think. I try to get some exercise and, relieve some of, probably the pressure that, I put on myself, the pressure we feel in general, and that's why I've said pressure is a privilege. No one's making me do this, and I'm very fortunate to have a lot of great people around me, my team and my wife and kids that help because, there's a lot more uncomfortable days than comfortable. And, that was probably something I had blinders to in terms of being in a leadership role like this. But a lot of prayer, a lot of family time, and a lot of honest conversation with myself of, you kind of have to my job as a leader, I have to be grace for others. I think I'm the worst at giving it to myself. And so there's a lot of conversation with myself of, you're okay. You're not perfect. And you made a mistake. You shouldn't have said that. You should have done this, and it's not some, I'm big on energy vampires. I don't like them, but a lot
Yeah.
of that, guys, is because of my own thoughts and how I show up and excuse me, how I show up. So a lot of things I say publicly, a lot of things I put out on social media, I'm talking to myself and you but I've seen progress and the key for me is to be consistent and that's a commitment I've made this year since coming off that CFP. I knew it was going to be more challenging. I needed to recommit at a completely different.
And that was kind of the last thing I wanted to ask you about in terms of the life as an AD and that work-life balance part of it, where you talk about having a family and wanting to be there for their games and good dad, and also understanding that, job matters a lot here. And obviously, Boise State athletics are, as you said, the front porch of the community. So do you at least feel like you're getting better at kind of juggling something that I feel like is really impossible to juggle in terms of doing a job that is this intense and talking to as many people as you need to talk to for work, but also just trying to enjoy yourself and enjoy the things about life that are less serious and more fun?
100%. I've learned so much over the course of 4.5 years and still so much more to learn, but more about myself and the things that I need and the honesty that I live in, with my wife and kids and tell them, I'll give you an example. This past weekend, there was a birthday party for our friends and my wife said, "What do you think?" And I said, "I can't do it." So I'm starting to say no more. And it's not for any, like I wanted to be there, but we had practice and there were other things that were top of mind for me. I know August is a marathon, and so I'm getting better at saying no to the things that maybe, I'm having to prioritize other things over, and it doesn't mean it's not important to me, but I don't believe in work-life balance, I believe in life, and you prioritize what's most important, and I have a responsibility, and I have a job that others look at, and we are representing something bigger than ourselves, and that's the point of pride, it's not doom and gloom. I don't want anyone to feel bad, it is what it is. No one's making me do this, I have this drive inside of me that I want to do it. And fortunately, there's more good than bad days with my family, but there's a lot that weighs on my wife. She takes care. I mean, our kids go back to school this week, and she's doing everything, to get them ready. I'm gonna show up. I'll be there, in their first day and do all that, but the work is done behind the scenes, and so it really does take a team, and I think her and I have found, some of sorts. We schedule a lot, and she puts it on my work calendar. that, hey, the kids have this, or let's do a date night, or, kids' game got moved, and I know you have practice, and can you come before or after? So it's just led to us growing as a couple, and hopefully me becoming a better father and husband.
I appreciate a different conversation. And when you come back in September, I promise you we'll grill you more about football and basketball and wins and losses and who knows what else is going on. These moments in this 30 minutes, 20 minutes always go by so fast, and we got to get you out of here. I might ask a question kind of along those lines because I think I ask you this question every August because you always give a real fresh perspective. What was the highlight of your summer when it comes to Idaho? Where did you go? What did you discover about this wonderful state? You got away for a couple of days. What are you going to remember about this summer? What it meant to you in Idaho here?
This was the best summer I've had, maybe in my career, quite honestly. I came back refreshed and I wasn't behind. The family and I went up to McCall for 2 weeks at an Airbnb and just disconnected. But I still had my phone and I could stay ahead of emails and texts and whatever else. But I also got to, we rafted the Cabarton, which
Nice.
was awesome. We went to, I think, Bergdorf.
Yep. Hot Springs.
Hot Springs. We went to the hamburger place up there that for dollar bills.
Oh yeah, yeah.
I forget what that.
No, it's
Outpost. Yeah, about. We went up there. The kids loved that. To the North Shore of Payette, and tried to see moose. We didn't end up seeing one, but that was really cool. We went to the lake every day. We rode bikes. It was just we hiked behind Brundage. There was this like waterfall, behind Brundage. It was awesome, and I had a different level of appreciation. Maybe Idaho is such a beautiful place, and I've only seen a tenth of it, if that. And every time I go and see something, I'm like, man, how blessed, how grateful I am to be here. My kids absolutely loved it, and we just had a great summer. And then we did a bunch of other things. Most recently, we've now that the kids are older to try to get mom and dad together. With 3 little kids, it's hard and your attention gets pulled. So we went to Topgolf twice with both of the boys. So it was
nice.
just them or one of them and us. And my daughter, we took her to the Dirk Stanley concert, my wife and I, and that was awesome. So it was a great summer. I'm fired up, and this isn't seasonal anymore. It used to be seasonal, and used to be able to take a breath. So now you have to be really intentional to find that, and I was able to do that and get some things accomplished.
Just to make you feel a little bit more at home, we'll leave you on this question. Have you got your CFP money from Gloria yet?
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. There he is. Jeramiah Dickey, Ask the AD with JD. Second Tuesday of every month. Jeremiah, I enjoyed my first experience with you here on the air. I know you like to talk about running out ground balls. I'm a baseball guy too. That was batting practice. Okay. So no more softballs from me next time. Okay. Thank you,
Sounds
Jeremiah.
good. I appreciate you guys. Go Broncos.
All right. We'll take a timeout and we'll come back with more. Idaho Sports Talk continues. 30 minutes to play on a Tuesday afternoon.
From the Beacon Plumbing Traffic Studio, this is Ticket Traffic. Looking for dependable, heavy equipment to get the job done? Western States CAT offers a large selection of pre-inspected used Caterpillar machines